Welcome to the CMO Spotlight, and I am here with Mary Renner Beech, who is the Chief Marketing and Transformation Officer for Scholastic.
It's more about gaining the experiences you need to continue building your career. So, there might be a pivot in a path that you face where there's a really big title doing the same thing that you've been doing, or there's something that's a lateral move in a new area. And I would always recommend the lateral move in the new area if you're excited about it. And so it's really about the experiences. Are you excited about it? Is it going to be something additive for your career? Maybe you've been in brand marketing, but you need to get the analytics side, or maybe you've been all on analytics, but you haven't had any storytelling. I think that well-rounded marketers are very valuable. I could be good at a ton of different things. But I think when I look back over my career, I talked about this link of really helping, working with truly creative people and helping them realize a vision. I do think that's a superpower. I love being part of creative organizations. I love partnering with creative people who have an amazing vision or amazing gift to bring to the world, and helping them do that. Really get a ton of fulfillment out of that creative process and being part of the creative process. So it's both what I think I'm good at and what brings me the most joy. I really am a big believer and try to be transparent as a leader and ask my leaders to be transparent. I also believe in giving a lot of rope. I like to give people the information they need to do a good job and then not micromanage. I don't like to be micromanaged, so I try not to do that in return. And that was hard for me coming up. Again, I think as a younger person, I pretty much thought that if it was going to be done well, it was going to be done by me. And I had to learn that there are so many people out there that know so much more than I do about so many things. And the best thing I can do is bring them together, remove the barriers, enable them to do their best job. And I'm also a big believer in listening. I do think listening is incredibly important. And if you're quiet, you get so much. And I learned by sometimes just giving people and being quiet, like asking something and then waiting, you can get a lot of information. You can get to the there behind something versus trying to fill the space. And it's hard. And I don't always knock it out of the park, but it really is the best thing. There's a space for silence, I think, that we don't leave a lot of room for today. And I think it's a big part of being a manager as well. And if you're quiet, and give them a chance to really think about versus feeding the answer that you think is right. I always think about was a series of short films we did at Kate Spade called Misadventures. And it was back when video content was sort of new to Instagram and to YouTube from brands. And we invested in this, short form series that, Anna Kendrick started starring in it. And then we had a number of different people and really brought, it wasn't commercials. It wasn't direct selling. It really was stories that excited people and got people engaged. And then we experimented with shoppable video. And what I learned a lot from that process was I had an amazing head of creative at the time at Kate Spade, incredible talent that came up with the idea. And she had this amazing idea for the story, but in the end of the day, the distribution of the story was incredibly important. Like how we distributed it was going to make a difference to whether or not it was going to be effective. I had seen somebody speak and say that content is king, but distribution is queen, and she wears the pants. And I think in that case,
and she turns the neck too.
Yeah, exactly. So it was so interesting to have this, incredible creative talent who had this vision, and then to come and say, but it's going to be most effectively delivered. I think at the time it was like 45-second videos. Today it's like 10, but it was, I think people were still watching 45-second videos in one minute. And she has this idea for 10 minutes. So how do you take the science of the distribution? Like we think YouTube's going to be most effective. It's this many minutes. It's, it needs to have it needs to engage from the jump. It can't be a slow burn. All of this sort of data and metrics and marrying those two things together. And we didn't hit it out of the park every time, but we really, our head of digital marketing and then our head of content really came to a happy marriage in how to both create great stories and distribute great stories. And we learned a ton. I think there were 5 or 6 of them, may have been more. And we learned a ton over the series and just kept iterating and making them better and more effective. So it was a great just experience of, again, that art and technology, or art and science side, which I think is what we do in marketing today. It really is, how do you marry those two things together?